All right, I want to talk about relative rate of change. So the basic idea is that if f of x is a function, then f prime of x is its rate of change. And then if you take the derivative of the function and divide by the original function, that's called the relative rate of change. So a way to think about this is, let's say that you have $8,000 and the amount of money you have is increasing by $2,000 a year. Then $2,000 a year is your rate of change, but if you take the $2,000 and divide it by the $8,000, you get 1/4, and this is the relative rate of change. And a way to think about what this means is to instead calculate what's called the percent rate of change. So then what I do is I take the 1/4 and I multiply it by 100%, and that's 25%. So what this is saying is that it's increasing by 25% per year. So, but the advantage to doing it in terms of the functions is that, okay, so if $8,000, it increases by $2,000 a year. That's a 25% increase. But then the next year, you've got $2,000 increase, but you have $10,000. So that's 1/5, which is the same thing as 20%. So let's say that f of x is 2000x. So then f prime of x is naturally 2000. Then if you do f prime of x over f of x, you get 2000x. So you get 2000 over 2000x, which is 1 over x. So that means the relative rate of change is just the reciprocal of what year you're on. So in year 2, if x equals, if x equals 1, then you get a relative rate of change of 1 or of 100%, which means you're getting 100% change, which is right, because it's going to go from 2,000 to 4,000. And then when x is 2, you're going to get a relative rate of change of 1/2, which is the same thing as 50%, which is great because that's when it's going to go from 4,000 to 6,000. So it's going to increase by 50% and so forth. So let's try doing the same thing, but with a more complicated expression. Let's say f of x is x squared minus 5x plus 4. Then f prime of x is 2x minus 5, and so your relative rate of change is 2x minus 5 over x squared minus 5x plus 4. And so then, if you want the relative rate of change, when x is, say, 10, you get 2 times 10 minus 5 over 10 squared minus 5 times 10 plus 4, which is 15 over 100 minus 50 plus 4, which is 15 over 50. And that's the idea behind relative rate of change and percent relative rate of change. We'll do one more of these. Let's say g of x is e to the 2x minus 5x. Then g prime of x is 2e to the 2x minus 5. So the relative rate of change is 2e to the 2x minus 5 over e to the 2x minus 5x. All right.